Now, before though I go into the anatomy of top performing articles, anytime I do this, I always like to preface it a little bit, okay? Because too many folks, when you give them tips like, hey, an article length should be 1,500 words, or you should have use a keyword this 4 or 5 many times, sometimes it gives the wrong impression, okay? The reality is, it doesn't matter if you have 1,500 words, or if you use your keywords 5 or 6 times, or if you have links in that, or if you cite. If it's not good content, if you're not putting the work in, okay, it's still not going to rank at the end of the day. You know, just because your article is 1,500 words or 3,000 words, if it's not good, useful content around an effective keyword strategy, it doesn't matter. You know, that's like somebody who goes to the gym for 10 hours but doesn't do the workout at the end of the day, wondering why they're not getting in shape. And that's where I see so many for the 20 years I've been involved in search. You give these 15, you give these guidelines, but if the work isn't being done, it doesn't matter if it's 15 words or you use that keyword 5 times or things like that. You still have to do the work at the end of the day. So I always like, when I give these guidelines, to really stress that, okay? You still have to do the work, no matter what the guidelines are at the end of the day. So with that being said, what are typical traits of very well-ranking content? Now, this is a very recent study by SEMrush. We're not affiliated with SEMrush. It's a great tool. I would encourage people to get a free trial, but do what you want to do. Good tool, like it. They put out a very good article, looked at about, I believe it's about 70,000 pages or so that rank well, and they had to have a very significant amount of traffic. And they just started looking at what are some common traits among that. So I cite the URL. We'll also share, like we do all our webinars, these slides. So I'm telling everybody right now, if you miss something, don't worry about it. You will get the slides and the full recording of this webinar within a day or two. Okay, so you're not going to miss anything. So don't worry about writing everything down. So with that being said, great article, SEMrush. Encourage everybody to check it out. Very well sourced, a lot of data. And they looked at what's the anatomy of top performing articles, successful versus invisible content, or content that doesn't get much engagement. And this is ultimately what they saw, the key takeaways. Ultimately, long reads of 3,000 words or more got 3 times more traffic and 4 times more shares and 3.5 times more backlinks than articles of an average length of 900 to 1,200 words, okay? Shorter articles have, and I liked how they worded it here, have 0 shares 4.5 times more often than long reads of 3,000 words. So basically, words, articles that they saw that had 3,000 or more words got shared 4.5 times more than articles that didn't. Long headlines work. They get more traffic, okay? Article with list headlines, and we'll go into that a little bit, do have a tendency to work well. So these are the 10 things I like about blah. These are the 9 ways to do this, so forth and so on. 36% of articles with H2, H3 tags have higher performance in terms of traffic and backlinks, and articles with 5 lists per 500 words compared to articles with no lists get 4 times more traffic and 2 times more social shares. Now, once again, there's a link in this presentation to the full article. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but these are things that you look at. But what I really want to stress about with these key takeaways from that article is that at the end of the day, it really comes down to a few things, okay? So yeah, it's great for 3,000 words, and typically longer articles do work better, okay? There is a general rule of thumb. There's been tons of studies around this. No shocking, great, epiphany there, okay? But at the end of the day, longer articles, the main reason longer articles work better, it's not and get shared more and get engaged with and rank better, isn't because they're 3,000 words. It's because they're usually much more in-depth articles. They're well sourced. They have a lot of information. They're really becoming that authoritative article for whatever that topic is. Okay, that's what really matters at the end of the day. And if anybody's been on my webinars, whether we're talking about search algorithms or engagement from individuals and rankings, you always hear me talk about deep content. Okay, that's what really matters, is deep content. And deep usually means longer. Okay, but that's somebody who's then citing experts in the space, using quotes in the article, linking to other resources, having a video, having a list, having bullet points. You know, the reason H2, H3 articles that use H2, H3 tags, it's not the H2 or H3 tag that's causing better rankings. It's the fact that there are subs, there's so much content, there are sub headlines, you know. So that's really the correlation, is the deepness and the thoroughness of the content, okay? But, and I really can't stress enough, short content is not necessarily a bad thing, but it depends on what the user that's doing that search needs, okay? If somebody's just looking for directions to a pizza place near them, a 3,000 word article ain't gonna rank well, okay? So you really need to understand what the user's intent is and what's the appropriate content for that need at the end of the day. Okay, so I wanted to start off with the anatomy of the article and what to be thinking about when writing an article before we got into the technical aspects of keyword research, because these takeaways will inform your keyword research.